everybody and welcome on my YouTube channel. You are with Alendris for today and out of serial episode. We will speak about PvE heroes that we are not using for PvP. Actually, some players ask me whom I need to increase in my heroes pool, and I think this episode will answer for you as far that you have already all metagame heroes. Before the beginning, I want to add one little thing. I did this episode as a top 10 PvE heroes, but don't forget that it's some heroes that we are using for PvP who are better in some situations than these heroes who are exclusively used for PvE for most of them. There is some exception, but actually all heroes that I will speak about are not in the metagame. For all these heroes, I will explain you why they are good and for what we are using them most of the time. So you can disagree with this top 10 for sure. I will not be against you if you are thinking differently, but it's my top 10 and it's for you right now. In 10th position of my top PvE heroes, we have a Mechanical Destroyer. This hero is mechanical, magical damage dealer, and it's really important because now that we have Machinist Legendary, we can pair them together to have some additional magical damage. And this hero is interesting because his HP are more consistent than for other intelligent heroes. We have something like 48,000 HP without any training, and is dealing really nice damage, especially if you have only one target in front of you. Actually, you can use him against every boss in red PvE, so every boss who are not sensitive from physical damage, or like Turtle Fighter who are really dangerous when you are using physical damage against them. You can also use him for Time Rift, and you can also use him for Crashed Heal, the trial stage with heroes who are not sensitive for physical damages. In the 9th position, we have a Fallen Dominion. Fallen Dominion is a pure single physical damage dealer. So he's really interesting because due to his lifesteal, he has a strong HP regeneration, so he's able to survive a lot during the fight, but he's not dealing area damage. So we will use him most of the time against single boss who are sensitive for physical damage for sure. So not against Turtle Fighter because he will get one shot, but against other single boss, or when you have only one monster staying in the battlefield, you can use him. He's one of the strongest single target damage dealer in the game even now. So when you are checking his statistic, he has something like 55,000 HP, so it will give him a lot of survivability. And for example, actually against the boss Red 18, he is in the best team against this boss because he will be able to survive due to his life regeneration. In 8th position, we have Queen of Curse. Queen of Curse was really strong at low level in PvP. Now in PvP she's nearly not used, excepting against some situation against a Master Mage or something like that, but it's totally random, so players prefer using something else, and they are right. But actually in PvE she's really interesting because of her third skill, Fatal Pulse. Rana reduces all enemies' armor and magical resistance, armor by 162 and magical resistance by 86, and it's really useful, especially when you have a full battlefield in red PvE with a monster who are sensitive of physical damage, or she's also used in Valkyrie Showdown in Trial, but you need to have her with little more gear than me. And last point, really important, she is used in Outland Portal against Lord of Cave, and she is really useful because you will have the debuff, like I told, with really strong, and the life swap with a strong damage against this boss, and who will give you the win most of the time. In 7th position, we have a Werewolf. Werewolf will be soon in the metagame PvP, but actually he has some little problems who must be fixed. Until this moment, he is really useful in PvE. So, why we are using him in PvE? His last skill, Laceration, with a crazy strong debuff against armor. So when you pair him with a physical damage dealer, it's a crazy benefit. And the Howling, increasing the attack damage of the whole team, it's really strong also, and is able to tank some damages with Wolf. Even this hero has a crazy lifesteal, so he's able to survive himself. Actually, if you are using him against the boss Red 18, is one of the best solutions that you can have actually in the game. And also, all the times that you have only one enemy staying, is pretty strong with a physical setup. In 6th position, we have a Time Traveler. Time Traveler can be used in some situation in PvP, but most of the time, due to his HP who are just crazy low, something around 36,000 HP when you are 5 stars, and you can't upgrade this HP with Training Field, you don't have this possibility. So most of the time, against all new curse team like Tarot Prophet, like Fiend Slayer, you will be crushed in 5 seconds, and it's not interesting to play Time Traveler. But in PvE, it's another deal. Time Seal will decrease the target magical power by 218. You will have the Time Lock, who will control the enemies during 5 seconds more or less and deal some interesting damage. And you have the Time Barrier, the ultimate, who will deal a strong damage for one target or for some targets who are in the same line. So this hero, you can use him against a Lord of Cave in Outland Portal, you can use him for a Crashed Hill in Trial, and you can use him against all boss who are not sensitive for physical damage. Actually, he is one of the best solutions against the Red Boss 19, Demon Assassin, and against the Red Boss 17, Turtle Fighter, who is really dangerous against physical damage dealer. We begin the top 5 of my classement with a Ghost Musician. So Ghost Musician is in this classement for one reason. It's her skill number 3, Exile. Salar exiles an enemy and make him unable to deal or take physical damage, but the target will get extra damage from magic and spell. Magic damage to the target increases by 112%, it's just crazy. So when you have little, not enough gear, or when you want to nuke one enemy with not sensitive for physical damage, you will use her. So actually you can use her against Lord of Cave in Outland Portal if you are lucky with the timing. You can use her also in Time Rift. You can use her in Crashed Hill. She is one of the best solutions in Crashed Hill, and she is one of the best solutions against some red bosses. Red bosses level 9. So it's the kind of tree with not sensitive, who has crazy armor and with really not sensitive for physical damage, and Turtle Fighter in Red Boss 17, and also in some other stage when you have only Turtle Fighter at the end of the fight. She is one of the best solutions, and for sure you must use her with magical setup. In 4th position of my classement, we have Tusked Storm. I'm little ashamed to show you one hero with only orange 2 for me, but I was waiting today Bounty Queen with also Agility Hero to increase Tusked Storm, who will be the next on my list. He's really strong because his ultimate for sure will give a boost of speed, of attack speed, and also a boost of physical damage by 525. We have also some magical damage bonus, but you will never use Tusked Storm with a magical setup. Second skill, Whirlwind Axe, is pretty strong too, and when you have all enemies who are packed in front of you, it will deal some awesome damage. So this hero is strong. He has a crazy huge lifesteal, 115, who will give him the possibility to survive and to deal really interesting damage. So you will use him against all setup who are not single target setup, so not against boss, but when you have full battlefield, you can use him with a physical setup. We begin the top 3 of my classement with a Vengeance Spirit. It's true that Vengeance Spirit can be used in PvP, but actually I don't think she's really in the metagames. That's why I think we have better result with her in PvE. She's really strong because of her second skill, Split Arrow. Nasira delivered physical damage to 4 enemies, but reduced half of the original damage. The higher skill level, less damage is reduced for the original damage. So when you are full, you reduce only by 9% your damage, and you deal really impressive damages, especially even if you turn the back, you are touching all the enemies. She has some good survivability because of her fourth skill, who increase her HP by 8,400, and she has also some good lifesteal, so she will survive on the battlefield most of the time. You can use her against the Trial Valkyrie Showdown. You can use her every time that you have a full battleground, when you don't have enemies who are not sensitive for physical damage for sure, and just don't use her when you have only one single target. In the second position of my classement, we have a Death Mage. Death Mage who was used in PvP not long time ago, so now a lot of players have her, and now that she's not in the metagame, you can use her in PvE without problem. Her ultimate skill is pretty strong. It's Summon Wraith, so Rasha calls from the group of angry wraiths to cause magic damage and steal the life force of her enemies for her. So it will deal crit damage on the battlefield, and it will also recover her HP, so it's cherry on the cake. She will be a great solution against boss 18. She will be a great solution every time that you have the full battleground with full of enemies not immune against magical damage for sure. You can use her against Lord of Cave in Outland Portal. You can use her for all Time Rift, and you can use her in Valkyrie Showdown in a Trial. So it's a really good heroes that you can use in a lot of situations. And finally, the first one, the star of the PvE, is a Beer Warrior. He's crazy strong in PvE and is crazy bad in PvP. So this hero is really interesting because of his ultimate. He will be in frontline, so his ultimate will be charged every 5 seconds, 10 seconds when you are fighting a group of enemies, and you will deal a really huge damages. You have bonuses of physical critic, you have bonuses of attack, and when you have him as legendary, you have amplified damage, who will deal some extra damage every time that you are touching enemies. And finally, you have even his academy skill. So his academy skill, I will show you. Hop, it's this one. Anger, Beer Warrior deals extra damage that equal of 5% of his current HP. So this hero is most of the time full HP, because he will lose HP, he will hit 3 times, he will be full HP, and he will deal a crazy amount of damages every time that you have a group of enemies in front of him. And he push during the fight, so most of the time at the end of the fight you have all enemy in one line and Beer Warrior who is crushing them, and sometimes he's able to deal 4 million, 5 million just in 1 minute and a half. This out of serial episode is now over. I hope that it will give you some good ideas. We will meet soon for the presentation of the new VIP heroes for February. I still don't know about it because we are waiting on the test server. It's still not there. If you don't want to miss it, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter. You can also subscribe to my channel if it's not done, and if you want to support my work you can click on the last link on your screen, and you can also like the video and share it. It's helped me a lot. Thank you guys, bye bye.